Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, March 22nd. We are live this morning with Congressman Jim McGovern. Let's go on the record. As chairman of the Rules Committee, he can move policy forward in times of crisis, how he's balancing the needs of the nation and his state during the coronavirus outbreak.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR, and to make sure that we can bring you the very latest information on the coronavirus, we are live once again this morning here in our studios in Needham, and we are also practicing social distancing so that Janet Wu and I have moved off the table to give the proper amount of space. So Janet, good morning. It's great to see you.
Good morning, Eddie.
Thanks to have you with us. As I mentioned, our guest is Representative Jim McGovern from the state's 2nd Congressional District. He is joining us live from our Washington bureau this morning. Congressman, right off the top, I hope you're staying safe. I trust that, right?
Well, I am staying safe. I'm following CDC guidelines. When I arrived at the studio today, the team that greeted me, we rode up in separate elevators, and they handed me my Purell. So
there you go.
I'm practicing social distancing, and my staff is operating out of their homes, and I'm doing most of my work out of my living room.
Well, there you go. Are you still flying?
I drove down here, so I just thought that was the better way to do it. But look, we all have to think differently. But I think what we ought to constantly do is keep up to date with the latest medical advice and the latest scientific guidance.
When was the last time you were on a plane? Just I'm curious if traveling on a plane is something you've shut down for a while.
Yeah, I was probably a week and a half ago.
So, Governor, let's jump right in. Governor Baker is struggling, as you know, to get resources, protective gear for healthcare workers, ventilators for patients. He had sort of a testy exchange with the president earlier this week over states and the federal government outbidding each other for equipment. A few days later, Trump relented and he said states will get first dibs. But are you confident states will now get what they need?
Yeah, I won't believe it until I see it. I mean, I share Governor Baker's frustration. I mean, the idea that we have communities that don't have protective gear, that our doctors and our nurses and our first responders don't have masks, or we don't have enough ventilators, that's just outrageous. I mean, we're the United States of America. I mean, during World War II, we had all of our factories producing airplane parts, and we should, this is an emergency. The president says it's a war. Well, he ought to invoke the Defense Production Act, and we ought to be having our factories make whatever we need to keep our people safe.
Any fear on your part that some of the materials that are being manufactured right now might go overseas instead of being kept here in the United States where it's also needed?
Well, I mean, look, we need to make sure that our people here are protected. And again, I just find it so unbelievable that there are doctors and nurses and first responders who are reusing their face masks over and over and over again, or that somehow we're going to have a shortage of ventilators. I mean, come on. I mean, let's produce them. Let's get them to people. Let's get them to our hospitals and our community health centers. I mean, we should have had all this equipment yesterday. So there's no more excuses. There's clearly a lack of coordination with the administration and the states. I'm hoping they're working that out. But, time is of the essence. I mean, people's lives are at stake.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't the president say this week that General Motors was going to start making the ventilators that you're talking about?
Well, he said that. I don't, I mean, I'm not sure what's happening right now. But again, the first coronavirus case, it was detected in the United States back in January. I mean, and the scientists and the medical experts were telling us that, that the worst was yet to come. We should have been producing this stuff back then. We should have been giving the orders to these companies to make this equipment back then. So now we have to play catch up, and again, time is of the essence.
I wanted to ask about shelter in place or stay at home, whichever way you care to phrase it. California, New York, Illinois have effectively shut down their states. Travel is pretty much limited, going to the grocery store and the pharmacy, while most Massachusetts residents are doing the same thing voluntarily. Do you think it's time for a firm stay-at-home order or shelter-in-place order here?
Well, look, I mean, my advice to everybody is if you can stay at home, stay at home. I mean, that's the safest thing to do. But I think, we all, whether it's the governor, the president, me, or you, we should basically react to the latest scientific evidence and to the latest medical advice. I mean, we should do whatever the scientists and the doctors tell us to do. And if they want us to take even stronger measures, we ought to do that without question. I mean, this this is a serious moment, and again, to play it safe, I would urge everybody to stay at home.
But should the governor issue a shelter in place or a stringent, more firm edict, or do you think it's working pretty well here in Massachusetts right now?
Yeah, well, I think the governor should do whatever the scientists and the doctors tell him to do, and I'll leave it at that. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I'm heeding their advice. And I think to those who are listening, I mean, if you can stay at home, stay at home. That's the way to keep safe.
President Trump is pushing a malaria and antibiotic medications already approved that may be the key to treating folks suspected or confirmed. Is this major good news to you, and how confident are you that this drug is being an answer, if not the answer?
Well, look, I'm hopeful that there is an answer out there, and maybe this is the drug or a combination of drugs that might work. But I was a little bit concerned that the president kind of overpromised on this, and I don't want people to have a false sense of security that we've found the cure. We just don't know. And Dr. Anthony Fauci, I think, who's leading this effort to combat the coronavirus, made it very clear. The research is out. We don't know. So until we have the research, until the scientists and the doctors tell us that it works, we just don't know. So everybody needs to follow CDC rules and regulations and precautions. And again, practice social distancing, wash your hands, over and over again. If you can stay at home, stay at home. But we all have to be safe.
A $500 billion package has been passed and signed by the president. Can you translate for the average person in Massachusetts what that means in terms of unemployment or rent or mortgage, hospitality workers? Can you translate that for us?
Well, I think this next package that we're hoping to vote on in the next couple of days, I think is going to have a bigger impact, and that is going to contain everything from maybe some direct cash payments to citizens, to help for small businesses, to help for our hospitals and our first responders, for our local communities, our nonprofits, our restaurants. I go on and on and on. That's the package, quite frankly, I think that's going to have a bigger impact on local residents. Look, our economy is at a standstill, and we're talking about maybe a package as much as $2 trillion that we'll be voting on this week, basically to try to stave off a catastrophe from happening. But here's the deal: whatever we do, I want to make sure that it helps real people, average people. I don't want another bailout for Fortune 500 companies. I want to make sure that the people that I represent, who work hard every day, get what they need. And also, we have a lot of people that are struggling in poverty. Before this even happened, when the economy was supposedly doing okay, we have 40 million people in this country who don't know where the next meal is going to come from. I mean, they're in an even worse situation now. So we have to make sure that the vulnerable are protected, that the middle class are protected, that our small businesses are protected. We got to help our restaurants, and we got to make sure we can get through this. And I hope it's not going to be as long as some of the skeptics say, but nonetheless, we have to be prepared for anything.
Senator McConnell's idea of checks for every American now being negotiated at this hour, is that something you'd vote for?
Well, I mean, again, we're going to be voting on a whole package. I want some direct relief to individuals, but I don't want to sit. I'm not going to vote for a package, that is a bailout for the well-connected and the well-off, or the big corporations. If we're gonna bail out some of these corporations, I want to know what they're going to do for people. I want to know what they're going to do for our community. I want to make sure that a year from now they're not using this money, to buy back stock or to give bonuses to their CEOs. And so, the devil is in the details. And I'm here in Washington right now. I mean, later this afternoon I'm meeting with some of our leadership team to go over some of the specifics in the package. But I want to make sure that we have a package that responds to the needs of the people, not just to those who are in positions of financial security. I mean, everybody needs to be taken care of here, and their needs need to be addressed.
One of your colleagues, Congressman Joe Kennedy, actually proposed something similar earlier this week, but the amounts that he was proposing would be paid out based on income. So in other words, those making less than $100,000 would get a little bit more. Those over $100,000 make a little less. Is this something the Democrats are fighting for? Do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, well, I support Congressman Kennedy's bill. I'm a co-sponsor of the bill. I also support what Senator Warren has been advocating, in the Senate. Look, let's be clear. All sectors of the economy have been adversely impacted. But we need to make sure that nobody's invisible as we come up with a solution here, that everybody's needs are addressed. And again, for average people, they're my primary concern, and the vulnerable. So if we're going to talk about, giving, big bailouts to industries, I want to know what they're giving back to the people. And we've learned from the past that sometimes if you don't have strings attached, if you don't pay attention to the detail, these big financial institutions, these big corporations, they keep the money to continue to enrich themselves, and we just can't have that at this moment. Everybody's needs have to be addressed.
Congressman McGovern joining us live from Washington. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.